Hi everyone, I'm Jess and I'm the content manager here at Course Report. Here at Course Report, we help people navigate the world of technical skills boot camps, whether you're choosing which skills to learn, deciding where you're going to apply, or thinking about your job search. Today, we're diving into that tech job market, specifically how to stand out as a new graduate in a bear job market. And a bear job market just means that we aren't currently in like the heyday that we saw in 2021 and 2022. Interest rates are higher, companies aren't hiring as quickly, and there are more people applying for fewer jobs. Plus, AI is making everything feel a little bit messier. It can feel really tough as a job searcher these days, but it's not impossible to land a tech role. You just need a smarter game plan. And for that, we are leaning in on the expert insights from Alicia Patterson, who is a career coach at Fullstack Academy. Alicia, thank you so much for being here with us today. First, I'd really like to start with like the big picture. We've certainly seen some turbulent times in the tech industry over the last 2 years. So do you think employers are still hiring bootcamp graduates from Fullstack Academy in 2025? Is that happening?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We're definitely still seeing graduates from full stack getting hired in 2025. It's a dynamic job market, though, so everything's evolving. You mentioned AI, of course, that's changing the landscape in many ways that I don't even think we're fully aware of yet. So we're all kind of finding our footing as far as that goes. But we're continuously evolving our boot camps specifically to address those needs as we see them coming. I think that's one big plus about boot camps in general is that education in the traditional space is not able to change quickly. It's just it can't in a 4-year degree setting. It's really hard to do that. But in a boot camp, we're able to, especially at Full Stack, we're looking ahead and going, that's coming. We need to be aware of that and adjust as we go to make sure that we're preparing learners to get those jobs that they're looking for. So yeah, AI powered resume optimization is a big thing that we've incorporated on our side of things to really empower. So even though AI is kind of changing the landscape, we're actually trying to utilize it a lot in our space as well. And it's really contributing to some positive outcomes in our alumni.
Very cool. So on your end, what does the current tech job market landscape look like for those getting into tech?
So right now it's sort of changing, like I said, and it's very dynamic and there's lots of things happening. There's just a lot of shifting happening. And a lot of what you'll hear people say is AI is going to take everybody's job. And I just don't think that that's the truth. It can help us, and it's definitely going to change what those jobs look like and what employers are going to need. But I don't think it's going to take away jobs. When you think about AI or even Chat GPT, if you've used it to help you write something, for instance, you know, it helps and it's a great tool, but then I've noticed that I have to go through and make sure that it, actually did what I needed it to do, that it actually sounds really good, and sometimes tweak it so that it sounds authentic to me. Same thing with AI and code, for instance. Yes, can it write code for us? Of course. But is it optimized? Is it going to do the exact thing we need it to do? Does it need to get cleaned up? Almost always yes. So that's where the humans come in, who've been trained and have the skills that can look at that and say, okay, here was a good starting point. We need to adjust it in this way. So having entry level and junior folks coming into tech who have a skill set in those technologies, but also the ability to be adaptable and to learn as they go is going to be really important moving forward.
Yeah, you just touched on this a bit about AI affecting sort of the tech jobs. How is it affecting the marketplace itself, like the actual sort of like interview or application process?
Oh, good question. So for the application process, we're seeing for a really long time, we've had applicant tracking systems that a lot of companies employ to sort of filter out resumes that don't have the right keywords or other things that they've asked it to look for. But now they're incorporating a little bit smarter systems with that AI kind of in there as well. And so not only are they looking for keywords, a lot of times they're looking for keywords saturation. Like, are they seeing JavaScript 5 times instead of just once? And then it's going to move it forward. So AI is kind of seeping into the applications in that way. I've seen it a little bit with the interview side of things. I've had a few folks tell me that they've been in some interesting interviews that are a little bit more AI. They're more hands off. There's not as many humans involved in that interview process. So I think it'll be interesting to see what that looks like as we move forward. But it's definitely changing it already for sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And then how long are junior developers coming out of Full Stack Academy? How long are they on that job search for? Is it around
Sure.
the same, like 3 to 6 months, or is it a little bit longer these days?
I think a good average is to say 6 months just to be on the safe side. I think there's definitely folks that can do it in a shorter amount of time, but everybody's path is different, right? Some folks are looking to target specific companies, or maybe they only can work remote because of, certain limitations in their personal life or whatever that might be. That might hinder them a little bit in finding something quickly. Whereas somebody that doesn't have any limitations and is like, I'll take whatever, wherever it is, they're going to probably land something a little bit more quickly. So I usually think about 6 months as a good average, knowing that there are some folks who might take a little bit longer than that because they just maybe got started slowly on their job search, or they just don't have a lot of time to dedicate to it with other obligations that they have. And then there's folks that do it even faster than that. I had a student who got hired while they were still in boot camp. They didn't even graduate yet. So it's really dependent on the person and how much time they have to invest in this process, and also the factors that sort of affect what they're able to search for and when, that kind of will change that amount of time a little bit
That's great. I love to hear that boot campers, there are still some that are getting hired before graduation date. I love to hear that.
too.
Um, and we've done a little bit work of, just describing what the current tech job marketplace is looking like these days. So let's drill down into like the top maybe 3 ways that a new technologist can stand out in today's tech job market. What ideas do you have there?
One is it's really easy to fall into the quick apply button trap. It makes your life feel very easy, and at the end of the week, you can say, "Oh, I applied to 100 jobs this week or 50," and that big number feels like you had a big accomplishment. But that quick apply button is what everybody else is doing. Everybody's doing that now. There's like 1,000 people who have applied through that system, and we're not standing out in any real way. The way that we can stand out is to actually go to the company website, go to their careers page, apply the slow way through their portal. It does take more time. And I also highly recommend within that doing a tailored resume and cover letter, which again takes a little more time as well. So you may only get to 1 to 3 or maybe 5 a day. And that sounds low, but it's actually, that's what I would want to see, because now you're standing out. Now you're in the company's portal, they're looking at you and going, "Oh, well, this person took time to actually apply directly to us versus these other folks who came from some other third party site." So sometimes they give you a little weight to your application, and it just shows that you're really committed to that particular role in that company and you're really excited about it. And it's a way for you to stand out from the pack for sure. Another thing you can do is, in addition to taking that long application route, is do some outreach to the companies that you're applying to. And that can look different depending on sort of where you're at with everything. It could be that as you're applying to a role at a company, you find some of the folks on the team that you are applying to be on and start connecting with them on LinkedIn and just letting them know that you've submitted your application and you would love to connect with them. Maybe there's a company you're targeting, but you're not sure that there's a good fit as far as open positions right now. Maybe start reaching out to some of the folks on the team and let them know you're excited about the company and not sure there's a good fit right now, but you'd love to start connecting with them to see what possibilities might be coming down the pike. So it's a lot about connecting with people on the other side of the screen, because there are so many people applying to a job. You're just sort of a name in a pile of names. And if you can start to become a person to them, then it's like, oh, we really like this person. We liked their personality. We see something in them. In addition to the skills that they have, we really want them on our team. So that can definitely help you stand out. And then on the other side of that, just in a more general sense, networking is a big piece of standing out in this market as well, because if we're just sitting at home on our computer, plugging away at all of these applications and doing nothing with the larger tech community, we're probably not going to stand out very well. Again, it's that idea of becoming a person to these hiring managers. So going out to some meetups or finding some tech events to go to, and even just in a more general sense, just going to just general networking events can be really beneficial as well. I always tell students, don't forget, don't sleep on your local chamber of commerce. They are probably having some sort of networking mixer. Just because it's not a tech company doesn't mean they don't hire developers, for instance, or they don't have a cybersecurity team. So go out there, start meeting all those people, and start becoming somebody that people see and say, we want that person on our team.
Such great advice there. And I also like it that it's not like you have to wait until you finish the program or wait until you reach a certain level or stage of your job search. These are kind of things you can
Absolutely.
continuously be doing.
Absolutely.
What do you feel like are the most in-demand skills right now if we're thinking of those entry-level tech roles?
So I love this question because you might think that it's a tech skill of
Mm.
some sort, but it's actually more of these what we would call soft skills or transferable skills. So it's things like problem solving, adaptability, being tenacious and not just going, oh, I don't know, I can't figure it out, but saying, I'm going to figure this out. Attention to detail, all of those things that we might have already been, might already have those skills from a previous job, but those are things that help us in um, these tech roles, right? And so, yes, it's great if you have the tech skills already, but if you can add to it with the extra layer of these transferable and soft skills, that's what employers are looking for because they understand, especially for junior and entry level folks, you're not going to know everything. You're not an expert, and they know that. What they're looking for are people who have at least the base level skill set, and then they know are going to work really hard for them to learn and to grow and to become what they need them to be at the end of the day.
I love that. So let's talk about, some common mistakes. What are the most common mistakes that you're seeing job seekers make during either the job search or the interview process? You mentioned that, easy apply or quick apply is probably one of those top mistakes. Are there any others?
Yes. Another big one is it usually comes up during interview prep. A lot of folks think, oh, I have to go into an interview and I need to have the perfect answer for every single question. Um, that's probably not going to happen, especially in the tech part of the interview. If you're doing some sort of technical assessment or a live tech whiteboarding session or whatever it is, you are very likely to hit some question that you just don't know how to answer. And then rather than just saying, I don't know, what you want to be able to do is say, okay, when I have a problem like this, I start by doing, and then you kind of explain how you would begin. And then as you move through that process, you'll say, okay, now I'm at a roadblock. I don't actually know from here where to go, but when I get stuck, what I do is, and then give them the sort of layout of how you usually try to problem solve and what you resources you use. It could be, Stack Overflow or some other thing that you go and use Google for or AI at this point, right? And then also maybe you have a mentor, or maybe you would say to them, I would probably go to my fellow team and see if anybody could help me to move past this roadblock. That's what they want to hear. They want to know that you're not just going to throw your hands up and say, I don't know, that you're actually going to have a plan to move forward when you hit adversity. So that's something I think it's really important for students to know and graduates to know that you know you don't have to know it all. You just need to know how to get past the problems that arise.
So in addition to, the typical job materials, cover letter, resume, CV, do you feel like either LinkedIn or GitHub are more important for new developers, or do you think they're kind of equally important for those people who are just breaking into the tech fields?
Such a good question. I would say for developers specifically, both are very important equally. LinkedIn because it's, as I mentioned before, trying to sort of become a fully formed human for folks that are looking through applicants. LinkedIn helps with that. We have a picture, we've got an about section which tells our story more so than the summary on our resume can sometimes. And it really allows us a chance to tell the story of, I came from this industry, I got really excited about coding, and then I started this boot camp, and now I do blah, blah, blah. That really helps an employer get a sense of who you are, where you come from, and where you want to go. And that's really important for a lot of hiring managers. On the other side of that, GitHub is a little more specific, but still really important because they want to see the code. They want to see what you can do. It's one thing to say, I know how to code or I know JavaScript and React, but it's another to say, look at this thing that I made. Here are my skills in action. And that's where GitHub really comes into play because we can see the code. And even for the folks maybe that are looking at your application who are HR, or a recruiter who aren't coders themselves, that README that they look at, or even just seeing the green boxes that show that you've been working on things, help them to say, okay, this person is active and passionate and working on their skills, and I want to move them to the next round. So I'd say they're both equally important for our developers for sure.
Good to know. So how is Fullstack these days helping its bootcamp students and recent grads navigate, this current tech job market?
So we have a really robust career success team, and it's made up of coaches such as myself. And then we also have a ton of resources. So the resources that we have, there's some within their learning platform. So within the classroom, they can just, access all kinds of resources that are there for at 2 a.m. They're freaking out about a morning interview. They've probably got something within those resources they can look at and say, okay, I'm ready. I can do this. We've also got a platform that we use that has a job board, a job tracker, a community board, so that you can a boot camper could interact with folks from other cohorts in the boot camp. So that's a great tool as well. I really appreciate having that platform for my students. They can submit their resume on there, they can submit their cover letter, their LinkedIn profile, they can get feedback. So that's a really great tool as well. And then us as coaches, we're here to meet with folks one-on-one. And I think that's probably the most valuable of all of these because everybody's got a different story and a different issue or a different background or whatever the case may be. And being able to meet with somebody one on one, hear their story, understand their goals and what they want to do helps me to give them a strategy to move forward and to get over any roadblocks and humps that they are encountering. So we're doing all of those things for all of our learners to just help prepare them for the applications that they're going to be doing, prepare them for this job search, prepare them for the tedium of it all, and understanding that it's not going to happen overnight necessarily, but we're here for you and with you, and we have things to help.
What are your recommendations to students about staying motivated, staying focused during a long job search, especially when we're kind of seeing this slow bear market right now?
It's funny that this is one of the questions because I actually just had a meeting with a student earlier today about this exact thing.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. So we talked about in that meeting just this idea of, he said, I feel demotivated. I'm losing steam. This feels so tedious. And I said, first of all, that's totally normal. So you're okay. But, we talked about self-care. First of all, I think part of it is when we're in a job search, we think we need to be glued to that screen and we're not doing anything else. It's okay to go take a walk. It's okay to play video games or listen to music or whatever it is that you do to decompress. Please keep doing that because that will help a lot with staying motivated. But also finding a community of people that are in it with you is really important. So that can come from your fellow boot campers for sure, but there's other folks out there who are also looking for a job. So going to meetups and other events like that can be really helpful to start building relationships with others who either are currently in the job search and so you can commiserate together, or have been in it before and are now working and they can say, oh, I remember those days. Here's some tips, or here's what I tried to do, or here's some companies or whatever it is that kind of can give you some new things to incorporate. And then, think about some projects to start working on so that it's not just application after application after application. You're honing your skills, you're getting excited to work on something. For developers specifically, I'm always telling them your first project outside of class should probably be some sort of personal website that you can start showcasing your skills and what you can do with those skills, and you can show your personality and all of that. But maybe it's not that. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you've got a family member with a small business. Let's make them a website. Let's code something, an app for somebody that has a problem that like those projects can help you stay motivated because that you like it, you like what you're doing, you're excited about it. but it also is now something to put on that resume and to talk about in an interview. So it's also benefiting you at the end of the day as well.
Well, thank you, Alicia, for sharing all of your tech job market wisdom with us today. Gave us so many actionable tips to work with. I think this will help a lot of people who are either just starting that job search or in the midst of it somewhere. And thank you so much to all of you who are watching. We're going to be posting a transcript of this video interview on the Course Report blog with contact information for Fullstack Academy, just in case you're inspired to apply for any of their upcoming bootcamp cohorts. And in the meantime, you can follow Course Report on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you're a bootcamp alum, don't forget to post a review of your coding bootcamp experience on Course Report. Your review is a huge help to anyone thinking of getting into tech today.